This is Star Power, one of the classic paper airplane designs you've probably seen. If you've done any paper airplane making or much, you've probably run across this design. This is just my version of it. It's a really solid indoor-outdoor plane, takes very minimal adjusting. Outdoors, you might add just a tiny bit of up elevator. I'm John Collins, by the way, world record holder from 2012 to 2022. About 10 years of being the best in the world. And this is a really fun plane to make. You're going to start with this page in the book, of course. This is the Star Power. It starts on page 87. And you're going to, of course, trim off that outer edge. I like to use a paper cutter, but don't feel obligated to do that. Scissors work just fine. And what we're going to do, make sure that your number 1 and number 2 are up on top, and you're ready to start. Should look like that, short side up. And we're going to follow this line right here. That's the first fold. And as we're following that line, you'll see that you can see this white line. When you get into roughly the right position, that white line starts to pop up, and that's where you want to make your crease. Just show a little bit of that white line there. And we're going to put the crease right there. That looks pretty solid. And then we're going to do the same thing for step number 2. This dark blue line gets us going. And then we move over here just far enough to see that flip side guide. And once you see that, you take a little bite out of that. And get that going just like that. It didn't turn out as even as I usually like. Oh, some of that's printing error, some of that's folding error. So we're pretty close there. All right, number 3 is right here. We're just going to take this whole big triangle that's made up of these 2 little triangles. We're going to fold the whole big triangle straight over. And you can see that flip side guide right there. Try to keep this point lined up with this white line right here. You can see once you get going over here, it lines up. And then hit this flip side guide up there, the white line on top there. Try to hit that. And you're in business. You're making a paper airplane. No stopping you now. All right, next up, fold number 4. You can see it's blending in there just a bit, but it's a dark blue line that runs all the way down there. And we're going to fold this corner right to this red dot here. So this corner goes right onto that red dot. We want to hit that bullseye right there. And you'll see the flip side guide, of course, once you get close proximity. And so just let that thing take over a little bit. Just want to nip off a little bit of that white. Just like that, right there. That looks pretty good. And you can see I hit that corner, hit the bullseye. We'll do the same thing with fold number 5. I'm going to get this guy moving over, get it close, take a look at my flip side guide, make sure I'm in the right vicinity here. This corner should be really close to the other corner that I moved down. And you can see that the flip side guide's lining up pretty nicely. Keeping that in line for me. There we go, both corners hitting the bullseye. Both flip side guides looking good. Now we're just going to fold this little flap up over, just like that. And what do you know? Flip over is now looking right at us. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to flip that plane over right there. And I'm going to rotate it so that this flat part is pointed that way. So here we go. We've done a flip and a quarter twist. And now we're going to make fold number 7, which is right there, right down the old center. And of course, anytime you're folding a paper airplane in half, you want to pay attention to these single layer corners here. That's real important. You want to get one corner right on top of the other, and that'll make your wings the same size. Just carefully get that up there. Take your time and line that up. Now, the interesting thing about this plane is that the nose is not pointed. It's a little bit of a blunt nose design, which makes it good for having fun with friends. You can fold 2 or 3 of these things, and you guys can kind of chase each other around and hit each other with planes. That's fun. I've done a bunch of that. All right, so fold number 8 right here. Basically, you're taking this corner, or this edge rather, down to the center crease that we just made. So this is going to come right over, comes right down to there. You can see you're right on the flip side guide there. Here it is. There's that flip side guide right there. That's what you're trying to hit, along with getting this edge down to the bottom. And that looks pretty good. We're on the guide. We're on the guide line. Look at that, looking beautiful. And we're going to flip this over. And fold number 9 is going to go right down through there. And that's it. Looking good. Try to get this corner right on top of that corner. You're always shooting for getting those single layer corners lined up when you're doing wings. That's real important. Try to get those guys lined up. Even if your flip side guide's a little bit off, and you can see I'm eating up all of the flip side guide, making that come out right. But that's okay. We want to get these corners right on top of each other. The guide is pretty close. Nothing's perfect, but it's pretty close. All right, so a positive dihedral angle on this guy. And you won't need much adjusting in terms of up elevator. This thing flies really nicely with almost no adjustment. Just look at that up elevator before you throw it. So we're going to hang on to it right here where the locking fold is with one hand. With the other hand, a couple of thumb widths back from the nose. We're going to lift the wings up. We're just going to lift and pinch. Lifting and pinching the wings together. And then when they touch, we're just going to let go. And there's our positive dihedral, our wings sloping upward. And that puts the lifting surface, the wings, up above where most of the weight is. So if this guy gets rocked to one side in flight, it'll just swing right back to neutral. And the plane I'm going to show you fly here has had no adjusting. This guy has had zero adjusting, and it just flies just like this across the room. Look at this guy. No adjustment. I'm just going to give it a nice, easy toss. Oh, look at that. Right on the aircraft carrier. Star Power. This guy, it's a classic design, and this is just my interpretation of it. Star Power.